Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not worry about darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is Stepping Back. And that is because an unusual thing is happening in the heavens right now that may encourage you to step back, and it's happening to everyone. And it is simply that there are 6 retrograde planets right now. No, there's 6 retrograde planets. But the odd thing about it is that they're all in only one half of your chart. You know, a chart is a circle, a 360-degree circle. But in one half of your chart, and in everyone else's chart, there are 6 retrograde planets. Well, there's only 10 up there. So half of your life has got to be redone or revised or at least reviewed, and you've really got to check things out. The other half of your life can be going along just fine. But because the 6 planets are a majority of the 10 planets, and they are all retrograde, it means that you really would be wise to take a pause and just step back right now and review some things. You might want to review your plans for the future and whether you can afford them. That would be a good idea, because Uranus is in Taurus, a fixed financial sign, but it's retrograde. Then Mars has now changed directions in Aries, and it too is retrograde. And then Neptune is retrograde in Pisces. And then Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn are all retrograde as well. That's the 6 planets that are going backward, covering territory or on their orbits that they've covered before. And when they go direct, which will be starting this month, that more and more of the information, additional information they've discovered, will be coming out. And that's why it would really pay you to review things right now. Particularly ask yourself, you know, what's affordable? I mean, things change in life and prices never go down. They always go up. So that's a pretty good question to ask. Also, you may be thinking of things that you have had to delay this year, and maybe this is a better time for you to move forward. But once again, what can you afford? It's a really good question to ask, because the 6 planets, there are also 6 planets in the earth signs, and that simply means that with a grand trine in the earth signs, that people will be fact-based, or they will be looking at performance issues, or they can be looking at career goals, or they may even be looking at something like budget cuts or staffing reductions of one sort or another, sort of with a very business-like attitude, not a personal attitude, but a business-like attitude, because everybody's got to sort of try a little bit harder to really afford things, or maybe to make a little bit more money so that they can do that. And so this is a time when there can be different reasons for stepping back. They're not all the same reasons. One of the reasons that people can be stepping back and reviewing things right now is because there could be new terms or conditions regarding some sort of a legal contract. And if there are going to be new stipulations, or maybe new price ranges or whatever, then the legal contract would have to be renegotiated. So you'd have to step back and figure all that out first. The reason why I'm saying that there could be a legal agreement that needs to be reviewed right now is because Mercury is in Libra. And yet that Mercury in Libra, which rules contracts and the law, is being squared by Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn, and it is being opposed by that retrograde Mars in Aries. So there probably is a pretty good reason why you should step back and review some sort of legal contract right now. And if you haven't signed one yet, I'd still look at it again because you may have additional questions that could save you some money. But on the other hand, that Mercury in Libra is beautifully trined by the moon in Gemini today. And because those two planets are also trining the sign of Aquarius, which rules the future, it simply means that, this might be a good time for people to sign legal contracts if they can step back first and sort of get everything really cleared up or clarified because of new conditions or new terms. So that's one reason why I advise you to step back. Another reason why people can be stepping back is because a new beginning, though very popular, cannot pass muster, and therefore it's not going to work. And the reason why it can be very popular, first of all, is that Aries rules new beginnings and Mars is there, and that Mars is now trining Venus, which has moved into Leo. And so some people may be wanting to take a gamble on something, or some people may be getting ready to plan trips, holiday trips, for instance, even right now. But whatever it is that they want to try to do that is new and innovative in some way, which can be very popular, may not actually get off the ground. And the reason why is that there could be an illegal act that somewhat cancels out a new beginning. And the reason why is that Mercury in Libra, which is being beautifully trined by the moon in Gemini, is opposing that Mars in Aries, which rules new beginnings, and it is also Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter in Capricorn are also squaring that Mars. So there may be something sort of wrong with the new beginning, and if you don't step back and just go over things again and ask yourself, wait a minute, does this really make sense? Because you could have the best intentions in the world, but are you sure the other person does? You really should sort of check things out before you sign anything right now, and particularly look up the history of something, because there may have been an illegal act by someone in the past, and that might be the reason a person wants to make a new beginning. But if they do that and the illegal act has not been resolved yet, it would cancel out the new beginning sooner or later, and you would not want to be on the hook for any money that you might have put into something like that. So stepping back would be a good idea. I mean, it might save you some money and a lot of worry as well. Another reason why people should be stepping back right now is because there can be people with hidden agendas that have been sort of spinning the facts right now. And it might be helpful for you to find out if the facts are fantasy assertions or if they're really based on proven results or evidence. And the reason why is that there can be people around now who are seen as being experts. Only when you look a little closer, those experts, which they are, were people who became experts on work they had done many years in the past. So what makes them an expert today? If they are not immediately involved in something where they have the personal experience and the proven results for their efforts in something that they're dealing with today, then what right do they have to say anything about it if they don't have any proof of their own work? So an expert who could have been an expert many years ago could have a hidden agenda of one sort or another. And that is because Neptune is in Pisces, it's retrograde, and it is being opposed by that Sun and Mercury in Virgo right now, which is being beautifully backed up with the grand trine in earth signs. So it would help if you stepped back and you asked yourself if you should believe somebody right now if they don't have a good track record or an immediate association with whatever they're talking about. And just because they did something great 40 years ago doesn't qualify them to tell you or anybody else about something they have no immediate proof of because they never engaged in it themselves. And so, that's why, a hands-on experience is a good one. You should listen to people who have actually gone in and done something. It's one thing to be a salesman of something. It's quite another to be a mechanic or a designer or a builder of something. Generally, those people are a little closer to the matter and know what's going on. And that is why you shouldn't believe somebody's false assertions right now. They could have a hidden agenda behind all that, and even if you don't know the hidden agenda, just ask yourself, why should you believe somebody who doesn't have any current experience on what they're talking about, even if they do call themselves an expert? So that could be another reason to just step back and, why don't you just be like every other American and think for yourself right now? There's nothing wrong with that. That's how this country started. And so we should just sort of keep it up right now. Add things up yourself, see if they make sense, and make sure you're dealing with the truth and not somebody's fantasy. And make sure that you understand why somebody is wanting to engage with you in some effort. And find out what their motivation is first before it costs you some money instead. So this is a wonderful time to step back, and you lose nothing by thinking something over. In fact, you'd be smarter for it if you just stopped and tried to see if things add up. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, I think that you really do want to get a new beginning off the ground because Mars is in your sign. And right now, lucky you, your popularity can improve because Venus in Leo is trining that Mars in your sign. So you might be in the mood for summer fun right now, Aries, and you may as well go ahead. It is the end of summer and the start of fall, but if you want to have fun, or there could even be some good news about children or love affairs or sports or the entertainment world, all the things that Leo rules, that would be great. So if you want to sort of get out and mix and mingle and socialize, that would be great, Aries. Just make sure that whatever you are proposing or whatever great innovative new idea that you have, make sure it has nothing to do with anything illegal. Because if you want to move forward on a project with Mercury in Libra opposing Mars in your sign, you have got to make sure that everything is legal first. This is for your own protection as well, Aries. You really want to make sure of what your liabilities are. In other words, if you enter any kind of new business venture or any kind of a project, it would be wise of you to ask, okay, what am I liable for? If something goes wrong, what do I have to pay for? This would be, before you zoom off and do something, that would be a good question for you to ask. And so you maybe should step back and ask that first. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a wonderful time for people who are wanting to review things, because there are 6 retrograde planets and they're all in only one half of somebody's chart, of everybody's chart actually. Wherever the signs of Capricorn, Pisces, Aries, and Taurus are in one half of a chart, that's where all those retrograde planets are, and that simply means things need to be reviewed in one way or another. Well, Uranus is retrograde in your sign, and it is beautifully trining Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn, which are also retrograde. That does indicate, and they're also trining the Sun in Virgo. That simply is an indication that it would pay you, Taurus, to go back and check all written statements about something, bank statements, bills, terms on anything, legal terms on anything. And they could simply be the legal terms that some credit companies might be changing, or the new tax laws that might be proposed. You need to be up on those things right now, Taurus, because there may have been something that you have overlooked even earlier this year. We certainly have all had our minds on other things than business this year, but we've got to get back to business, and that's what you need to concentrate on, Taurus. There's also the possibility that you could be thinking of a promotion, or there is also the possibility that some good opportunity that passed you by some other time this year could come back to you now. And that would be good. You ought to take it, Taurus, because the aspects in earth signs are excellent, and the next new moon, which is in Virgo, is going to be trining your sun. So I would say just look everything over and be very discerning about what you want, Taurus. I think you can get what you want this year if you're willing to work hard and be very careful with the facts and your bookwork. Don't put any bookwork off. Get it done. So this is an excellent time for you just to step back and sort of review what you want and what you're doing about it. And that way it'll help you be more successful. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, the moon is in your sign today, but that moon is sort of caught between a rock and a hard place, and that may be the way you feel, Gemini, because Neptune in Pisces is squaring the moon in your sign. Neptune is a nebulous planet. You can't always see what it's doing. And the moon is also very gentle and passive. When these two visionary planets are in square or opposition to each other, it means that you can't quite trust things. And this is a time when something could be fishy in your life, Gemini, and it isn't you. It's something that somebody's telling you, or something that you believe that isn't really true, but it has been faked, or the facts have been spun, or it could be just somebody who has a hidden agenda, since Neptune is squaring the moon in your sign. But at the same time, the sun in Virgo is also squaring your sun. When the sun and the moon square or oppose each other, that is a sign of indecision or confusion. So you may not feel right about taking one direction over another. You could sort of be at a crossroads wondering which way to go instead. And if I were you, I'd step back and sort of stay at the crossroads, Gemini. And that is because there can be a legal contract coming up that is most favorable for you, really favorable for you. That's Mercury in Libra, trining that moon in your sign. That's a good aspect. And so you may want to quietly by yourself do your own homework, look over the facts and the figures, check to see what the new conditions or the new terms are in some sort of contract. And if you don't see anything new there, ask. Ask if there's something new. Because maybe if you don't ask, that's better for the other side. So you should ask, because that would be better for you instead. So just make sure you've got your questions written out, make sure you get the answers, and then look out for some sort of a contract that might be rather favorable under new terms and conditions. That could work out, but it's going to require you to step back and think about everything first, Gemini, so I hope you do that, because I think there is something fishy going on in your business life, and you better find out what it is first before you sign anything. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Cancer. You know, Cancer, you could almost feel as if, oh gee, suddenly maybe not much is going on in your life, because after all, you've had a lot of planets in your sign, and Venus has been there recently, but Venus has now moved into Leo right ahead of your sun sign. And that simply means that you can be looking forward to summer fun, or maybe a new love affair, or an exciting social event, or something to do with sports or the entertainment world, or maybe you feel like taking a little gamble in the lottery, who knows? But that can be sort of in front of you, and that can be pleasurable for you as well, Cancer. So good, you could probably end up having some fun right now. But on the other hand, there are things that you need to be wary of, and that is because the Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn are opposing your sun sign, and there's nothing in your sun sign now. And then Mercury in Libra now is also squaring your sun sign. So there could be a question that you need to resolve, and that's why you should step back, Cancer. It's a question, it could be about a real estate matter, or some sort of a contract, or it could be about some sort of business matter, or even a government policy that you just don't know enough about. And rather than presume that you know everything because you know all the ways something used to work, you better go find out what is new, what's been going on, what has changed, and then make your decision on something. So I wouldn't sign anything right now, Cancer, until you've really got all the facts. And that's going to take a little stepping back and doing a little detective work on your own. But I think you can do that. And that would be a wise use of your time right now. So don't rush. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, you have Venus in your sign. Oh, you can be in the mood for love, Leo. And your sign does rule love affairs. It sure doesn't rule marriage, but it does rule love affairs. So you could be pretty popular right now, Leo. And with Mars in Aries trining your sun, even though it's a little weaker because it's retrograde, you may be quite willing to listen to people's ideas about starting something new right now. But I would go ahead and listen if you want, Leo, but I would be a little wary about committing yourself completely, because Uranus in Taurus is still squaring your sun. It's going to be doing that for the next 6 years, and that means your investments can fluctuate. In other words, the price can go up or the value could go down, something like that. So you need to be really careful with your money, Leo. And also, with Mercury in Libra sextiling Venus in your own sign, that means there can be talk around right now about some sort of a contract. And it could be between what you might call friends. In other words, I think something could work out well for you on an everyday or casual basis. And if you have a sort of an agreeable partnership now on an everyday basis, you should keep it. It could even lead to better things. But if you're going to go in a completely new direction, you better step back first and check everything out, including someone else's motive for wanting you to be involved in something new. Their motive may be a hidden motive. So you need to ask questions and find out more, particularly find out what their background is and their prior success rate. If they just have a good idea and no track record to back it up, I would pass if I were you. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a wonderful time for earth signs because there are so many planets in the earth signs. So your sun sign has the sun in it, and it's being trined not only by Uranus in Taurus, but also by Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn. That's wonderful for you. And Venus is in Leo right behind your sun sign. So I think in the background of your life, Virgo, you can have your mind on love, or at least fun, and that would be great. Also, children's matters could be working out a lot better now, and that could make you feel good too. And so this is a time when if you just stick to the facts, and if you actually just stay on your regular schedule, Virgo, and just keep fulfilling your duties, which is what you like to do, you know, that's enough, because it can give you a feeling of solidarity with yourself and your goals. And that can boost your confidence in the long run. So that's enough for you to do. There are people in upper management in large corporations and government agencies which have had their eye on you for a while, Virgo, and they really like what they see. They may have to sort of redo their organizations a little bit before they contact you about something, but there is the possibility of a promotion coming your way, or some sort of accolade or praise for a job well done. So that's just fine. That's why I'm urging you to just step back and just stay on your sort of regular path. And I'm not calling it a rut, I'm calling it a system that you like to operate under that makes you feel as if you're really helping and doing your best, because this is a time, you've been doing that all along, but this is a time that can sort of steady you if you just keep that up. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time with Mercury in your sign when you can be really interested in some sort of partnership idea, certainly a peaceful idea, that's what your sign rules, or some sort of give and take, or even a part-time effort. And the reason why is that beautiful moon in Gemini is trining Mercury in your sign. Remember, Mercury rules Gemini. So it's very favorable for 2 of anything, since Gemini rules the twins, or something part-time or temporary. So Libra, if you're already doing one part-time thing, this could be an excellent time for you to decide to try one other part-time thing. In other words, you wouldn't be putting all your eggs in one basket. You might be deciding, along with everyone else, that it's a good time to step back and sort of reassess your schedule or your goals and your money, and see what would work better for you. There's nothing wrong with figuring that out. And then you may decide just to do one thing part-time, and then eventually increase your skills so that you're able to do something else that way. And maybe that could take some pressure off you as well, Libra, because the end of the year is going to work out real well for you. This is just a time when you need to think a little bit more about what will make you happy, and stay away from arrogant, pushy people. That Mars in Aries is going to be opposing your sun sign all the way until the holidays. And that's why you really have to make an effort to stay peaceful and calm, but you can do it. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when I think you need to be real careful with the money. And the reason why is that Venus is now in Leo, and it is squaring your sun. You might decide to get real generous with children, or love affairs, or sports, or the entertainment world, anything that Leo rules, because Venus is a real good planet. And you may decide that you want to go ahead and sort of splurge on something. I would be very careful about that, Scorpio. You sure you can afford it? This is a better time to step back and ask yourself if your money that you're already spending is well spent, or what could you change in your budget before you go ahead and want to splurge. This may not be quite the right time to splurge, so try to lower your sights a little bit into something that's more affordable, Scorpio. Because Uranus in Taurus, the other fixed financial sign, is opposing your sun sign. Uranus and Venus are the 2 love planets. Both of them are in harsh aspect to your sun sign at the moment. So if you're looking around and wondering who loves you, Scorpio, and you're exactly not too sure of who that is, that's okay. Because actually, we're all taking a step back right now, and there's nothing wrong with you doing that too, because maybe you need to ask yourself as well just who you are today and what would make you happy today. Not, we can always cling to yesterday's dreams, but what is really achievable today? What do you really feel like? Step back and ask yourself that first, Scorpio, and that's enough to do right now. Besides, it's more honest. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, you are sort of sitting in the right place at the right time, Sagittarius. Lucky you. Because Mars in Aries is trining your sun, and that can have the effect of somebody lighting a little fire under you and wanting you to sort of get up and get going. Well, there might be nothing wrong with that, Sagittarius. And then Venus is in Leo, also trining your sun. You could be popular, and for sure somebody very nice is headed your way, Sagittarius. Or there is some very nice opportunity coming up for you, or there can just be a nice person coming into your life, and perhaps they can just be a friend, but also Leo rules love affairs, so that's possible too. And it may be that you are involved in some new start that can sort of broaden your horizon right now. And you may be very interested in traveling, because that's what your sign rules as well. Or going back to school, having something that involves higher education. Maybe if you increase your skills, that would increase your career prospects as well. So that would be a good use of your time. So stepping back and just sort of saying, okay, well, what's out there that's headed my way? In other words, you may not have to reach out too much right now, Sagittarius, but I would sure keep an eye out for something really nice, or a person who's really nice that is headed your way, because you want to be ready for them, and I think they're on their way. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Capricorn. There are the 3 planets that have been in your sign for most of the year, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn, and they are being beautifully trined by Uranus and Taurus, but all 4 of them are retrograde. And to add to that now, in 1/2 of your chart, there are 6 retrograde planets, because Mars in Aries is retrograde right now, but it's square all the planets in your sign. You're still having to deal with loud, arrogant people that don't know what they're doing. They just know what they want, but they're not considering anybody else's interests. And that's a little hard to live with, so you have to try to stay away from them if you can, Capricorn. And then Neptune in Pisces is also retrograde. It sextiles your sun. So there is something around in your life, Capricorn, that you better take another look at, because it's could be fishy, it could be phony, it could be that you are around somebody who has a hidden agenda, or who is making, who considers himself an expert and is making false accusations because they actually have no real experience to back up whatever they're saying. It doesn't mean they haven't been an expert in another era, but they certainly are in today's dealing with today's problems. So you need to be a little bit more aware of how important it is to think for yourself. And Capricorns are very security prone. And so this would be a good time for you to step back and look at your own assets and look at how you manage your money, and look and see if there aren't a few things around that you could actually raise money from. Maybe sell a few things right now. That doesn't cost you anything, and it can make you some money. So this is a good time for you just to sit down and be a little bit more practical, because something has to be redone or revised in all of our lives. When 6 planets are only in 1/2 of everybody's chart, it means we got to go back to the drawing board a little bit and rethink things. And that is a good use of your time right now, Capricorn, so I hope you do that. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time when you can be blessed right now with some sort of opportunity, maybe even 2 of them that come up right now. And you know, they would just sound small, but they may not end up being that way. They could turn out to be great for you. And that's because the moon is in Gemini and it's trining your sun, Aquarius. And then Mercury is in Libra and it too is trining your sun. So even a chance encounter or some temporary or part-time effort of yours, or a class that you take, or conversations that you have even with just your friends and neighbors, could turn into something a little more permanent, or to the eventual signing of a contract, or at least the forming of a new partnership, even if it's only part-time or it is only for one particular project. It could be very pleasing, and it could lead to better things, Aquarius. So this is not the time to be sitting home and being a couch potato. This is a time when you got to go out and let everybody know that you're interested in what they're doing, and listen to them a little bit, because they could have some very good information for you. Mercury is the sign of communication, and it's in Libra, trining your sun. So I would listen to particularly young people. I think they're looking for mentors. Maybe you could be one. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, Neptune is in your sign, but it's one of the 6 planets in 1/2 of everybody's chart that is retrograde right now. Those 6 planets, oh boy, they mean we've got to go back and look things over. And you do too, Pisces. The sun in Virgo is opposing Neptune in your sign. And that sun is very strong and it's direct, and the next new moon is in Virgo. I think that there is a strong message coming your way, Pisces, that involves your health. And that could be the health of your bank book, as well as your own physical health, and also your mental health and your emotional or psychological health. So this is a very good time for you, Pisces, to withdraw a little bit, step back, just very quietly ask yourself who you trust, because there could be some people around that are not too trustworthy, or they may have hidden agendas. And so not everyone is is quite trustworthy right now. You should look and see what you can find. And then there could also be some new beginning that if it's involved with anything illegal, it's going to get canceled. So you got to stay away from that, Pisces. And the third thing is that there could be experts around that used to be experts, but they aren't now. And that is why you need to quietly think for yourself and try to figure a few things out right now, Pisces, for yourself. I think you can do that. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show and read our blog on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.